it.
This is the Jamal Show.
Jamal C. Rant. Jamal C. Rant.
Jamal. This is the Jamal Show.
Time to do this again.
This is the Jamal Show. Jamal.
Hello, Hartford. Hello, Hartford. Good morning. Good morning. It is nice weather out here. I like it a little bit rainy. Welcome to the Jamal Show. My name is Jamal. I am the host on WKND 97.5. I want to thank you for being with me today. I am very, very excited, probably for a couple of reasons. I don't know. Many people may remember I had a surgery back in February when this show started, arthritis in the toe. So I've been walking around with a club foot for like 6 weeks. But after 6 or 7 weeks, I am back in the gym. And it has a great effect on your emotional stability, your mentality. It's just great. People that don't work out need to get moving. I'm not going to lie to you. It makes everything better. Now, I need to tell you that I'm the host of this show, but my views definitely do not represent this station. So please keep that in mind. The station and I are two different entities. We got to cover each other's backside. And before I get started on this great day to be alive, I am letting everybody know that we are looking for sponsors for the show. In fact, we are talking to Hartford Smiles. Hopefully, we hope to seal a deal this week to get Hartford Smiles on board. Dr. Sampson, I've been talking to. He is a very good friend of the show. If you are interested in anything, giving us ideas, sponsoring, giving us hate mail, you can write us at jamalshowradio@gmail.com. That is jamalshowradio@gmail.com. Jamal is spelled Jamal, and you're good to go. We need support. You can also like the Jamal Show on Facebook. We have a page. We got a lot to cover today. There's been a lot of news. But lucky you, we have a new segment. Something exciting. I call it the Jamal Rant. And it's specifically for times like this, when there's something I got to say where there's no news for it, I just got to say it. It's got to be put out there. And I want to talk to my listeners. I want to talk to people on the radio right now that are listening. Come a little closer. I want to see if you agree with me. I want to start out talking about Trump Derangement Syndrome. Some people might have heard this on Fox News. This is a made-up diagnosis that Trump babies, that's what my name for Trump people that support him, it's a diagnosis that Trump babies make up to give to crime boss Trump's detractors. Now, I am a crime boss Trump detractor, and the implication by this word, Trump Derangement Syndrome, is that I must be crazy with hatred for not enthusiastically supporting crime boss Trump. I must be seething with unreasonable hatred, because if I were reasonable, I would be an enthusiastic supporter. But I just have so much hatred for him that I cannot see clearly. Now, that is nonsense. But I want to address the whole perspective now in our new segment. And this is my rant for Saturday, April 13th, 2019. The Hate Trump episode. Now, I get accused of blind hatred for Trump a lot. That implies a personal aspect. That I hate not just because these conservative policies are whack, but him as a person. That implies a personal aspect of it. I usually write off the accusation as an attack on my character used as a distraction by his folks against the reality of having no reasonable defense for most of his actions. You can't attack the logic, attack the person bringing it to you. It's the simplest of juvenile responses. Reminds me of that old saying that I will now misquote. If the law is on your side, scream about the law. If the facts are on your side, scream about the facts. If neither are on your side, just bang the table loudly. An honest assessment of my own feelings, however, leads me to confess that I do hate the Trump. And yes, it is personal. Of course it is. But it's also something he earned. As such, it ain't blind, buddy. Furthermore, it's not the same type of hatred I would have for someone who murdered my family member. I don't wish death upon Trump or anybody else. Even if they wish it upon me. If I heard of a plot to murder Trump, I would report it immediately. If Trump's young son, Barron, were lost on the subway, I would take responsibility for his safety. I embrace that part of my own humanity, and it is incorruptible. The integrity of my humanity takes precedence as a reflex over political considerations. That means that I wouldn't say things about him that I didn't actually believe. I wouldn't actually support a witch hunt against anybody. Those who think differently are projecting their own ideals upon me. Hatred for Trump may mean that I don't respect him, but I do respect myself. I remember disliking George W. Bush a great deal many years ago when I was in college. I may be giving away my age a little bit. I paid to see Michael Moore's anti-Bush movie Fahrenheit 9/11 like 6 times. Unfortunately, I also made my girlfriend see it at the time. I may have even hated George W. Bush. But now feels different than then. My reasons for hating George W. Bush were admittedly all political. The Iraq War, or he's so stupid. Dick Cheney, ooh, or Rumsfeld. Who wants to hang with that guy? I can see clearly now. Remember that? I can see clearly now as I look back that I just hated the political decisions that George W. Bush made, not him. I did not question George W. Bush's value as a person. Those who are old enough will remember during his campaigns that there was talk that even Democrats would rather have a beer with him than his Democratic competitors. My hatred for Donald J. Trump, on the other hand, is values-based. I dislike Trump politics, just like I dislike the politics of Senator Lindsey Graham, who's on the right. But I don't hate Lindsey Graham. I can't just ignore what Trump says and focus on just his actions, because a man's word is his action. Those are my Harlem values, and now Hartford values. But wherever you are, I'm there right next to you. If you don't believe words are actions, go give your loved ones some roses as you tell them you hate them. Hating Trump doesn't mean I don't like the crime bill he signed. I have no problem taking things from people I dislike or agreeing with them on issues that I benefit from. And I guess that comes with age. On the other hand, loving Obama doesn't mean I liked how he treated his friends the minute anything controversial came up. Obama threw a lot of people under the bus very quickly and unnecessarily. I'm thinking Van Jones, Shirley Sherrod. Remember that woman that was fired immediately because Obama thought she was racist for a minute? Reverend Wright, who officiated his marriage, very close friend, no longer once Obama became president. Even Bill Ayers, who's got a ton of right-wing conspiracy theories surrounding him. His own brother, had beef with him, I guess, when he was in office. My brother is someone I would keep it cool with if I was in office. The list goes on and on. I actually didn't agree with the killing of any American citizen abroad without a trial. Obama did that. Obama killed, I forgot the guy's name. He was a guy that was promoting ISIS, and he was an American from Virginia. Constitutionally, you can't kill an American without a trial. He did. I guess he was waiting to be sued. Obama did a lot of things that disappointed me, but he was a good president. Like every other human on earth, he had disappointing moments. Like everybody, right? Like your own mother, like your own father. I do not hate Trump because it is fun to hate. I hate Trump because the man seriously offends me in a variety of ways. Almost all of those ways have to do with how he treats others who are not powerful. Sure, you can persuade me to build a wall, But why throw Mexican brothers under the bus while doing so by telling them they have to pay for it? How would we react to that? Anybody remember the golden rule? Also, why call some women too ugly to assault? That is a truly horrible thing for a powerful man to say to any woman. Why slander a dead man who has had some honor, more honor than you have? And I'm thinking of you, John McCain. Blaming me for hating Trump is like blaming a mirror for his choice in clothing. Even a dog you feed every day will hate you if you keep kicking it. I feel that Trump kicks me. He kicks me in the values. I feel that I can be open and honest about this because I don't feel guilty for hating Trump. I don't owe him my love or loyalty. He owes me his. And he doesn't care to even try to perform when it comes to that. Now, some people have convinced themselves that I would have taken the same offensive treatment from Obama. Him lying all the time, kissing Putin's ass on national TV, inviting Russian spies into the Oval Office to gloat about the mayhem that he's causing in the American system. That's hilarious because I personally feel that the black community in particular would have given Obama hell if he had cheated on Michelle with a porn star. He may have had a big problem there. Yeah, I think so, and I hate Trump, but it's not all blind. Obviously, people are free to believe what they wish, but I hate Trump because my eyes are open, not closed. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my Jamal Rant for Saturday, April 13th, 2019. We will now take a break. I personally think that you should stay with me. That was kind of rough. WKND, boy, baby. Let's do it. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. This is the Jamal Show on WKND 97.5 FM. Thank you for being with me again. Just went through the rant. Have a few more things to talk to you about. You hear that? That's called preparation, folks. That's what I got for you today. And you and I are going to take this walk down this road. I want to talk about some big news that happened recently, as in the past 2 days. A guy named Julian Assange. That's the big news. After 7 years holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, Julian Assange has been dragged out, literally, by the British police to possibly be extradited to face charges in America for hacking government property. Now, he was being protected in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years at a cost of about $1 million per year to the Ecuadorians. People may remember Assange. I know that not everyone's into the news as heavy as I am, but people may remember him as the founder and manager of WikiLeaks, who was all too close. This organization was all too close to our election in 2016. This was the guy responsible for releasing hacked emails from Hillary Clinton's email server for the world to see. He did it under the guise of being transparent and informative to the world about how governments and powerful people like Hillary Clinton work in secret. Ooh. So there's that element of conspiracy theory here. But he never released anything hacked on the other side. He never released anything hacked into Donald Trump's campaign. So it's clear who he was helping here. In fact, Donald Trump benefited greatly from the engagement of WikiLeaks and famously mentioned the organization in a positive light over 100 times in public during the campaign. Once, Trump even asked him to find Hillary Clinton's emails in public. He said, if you can find those 30,000 emails, please do, Russian hackers. He said that right on the news. Interestingly enough, nowadays, Trump claims to know nothing about WikiLeaks. Isn't that something? And neither does Sean Hannity, for that matter. Hannity has erased all of his Twitter mentions on Julian Assange's and WikiLeaks content. So this is a guy that talks to the president like every day after his show. And he was supporting WikiLeaks. Now these people want nothing to do with WikiLeaks now that Julian Assange has been charged with a crime formally. Now this is a sealed indictment, so this charge came a couple of years ago actually, and they just unsealed it. Democrats are cheering for this arrest due to all the troubles that Julian Assange has caused for Hillary Clinton. But Assange was not arrested for anything that has connection with the 2016 election, in fact. And in his defense, Assange would say that the 2016 election was just a small part of the documents that WikiLeaks has released. WikiLeaks was actually founded in 2006, 10 years before the elections. Also in his defense, WikiLeaks has been releasing material that has never been questioned as authentic on a variety of subjects. It has revealed many documents about the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, for example, and cover-ups pertaining to atrocities in the Iraq wars, stuff like that. So that has been useful information released by WikiLeaks. But in 2017, our Secretary of State, I believe Mike Pompeo at the time, announced that WikiLeaks was actually a front for a Russian operation, intelligence operation. And I tend to believe that. Donald Trump doesn't, though. He doesn't. And I don't know how he can defend us if he doesn't even believe that we're being attacked. But that's another story, right? Nobody wants to look at that. The question is, what was Julian Assange arrested for? In fact, he was arrested for jumping bail in London and for his deals with a woman named Chelsea Manning. Chelsea Manning, the bail hearing, well, let me just get into the bail hearing. The bail hearing was about rape allegations in Sweden. That has since been dropped, so that's not really an issue. It might be brought back forth, but that's a small issue compared to messing with American elections. Not that rape is a small issue, but this has been dropped. Chelsea Manning was a young army recruit who stole classified documents and was caught and sentenced to 35 years, only to be given clemency in 2016 by Barack Obama. Barack Obama let her out of jail. Not that it matters, but Chelsea was a he when he committed these crimes and now is a she. So she's a transsexual. I guess that's the best way to say it. Assange is being charged with essentially helping Manning steal the classified documents from the government. So the politics of this case reflects the clashing views of Assange as either a heroic whistleblower standing up to the mighty United States or a willing stooge to help the Russians boost Donald Trump into a presidency by publishing hacked emails that embarrassed Hillary Clinton. I tend to take the latter approach. Now, what is his defense? Assange says that he is a journalist operating a media outlet and so deserves protections. Now, for those that don't know anything about this, the law kind of goes like this. If a media outlet publishes information that is stolen and classified but true, that media outlet is safe from prosecution. This precedent was established in court by Daniel Ellsberg in the much famous and much talked about Pentagon Papers, where Daniel Ellsberg obtained classified information and made it available to the New York Times, and the New York Times, thereby approached by the Justice Department, asked not to print the information. They printed it anyway, and the Supreme Court found that they were not liable for the actual taking of the information. So under that theory, Julian Assange is free to go. However, in this case, the government is alleging that Assange helped Chelsea Manning take the actual documents with advice on how to hack the security protections. Now, if this is true, then the Pentagon Papers case does not apply and will not save Julian Assange. And I tend to think the latter on that. So what's next? Assange's bid to fend off extradition could take years. Now, this is a case that could go on and on. And he could also face a second extradition request if Sweden decides to pursue this rape case against him. If found guilty of the U.S. charges, Assange could get 5 years in prison. His next court appearance is set for May 2nd, and it will be via prison video link. Apparently, he is dreading the prospect of violent attacks on him in the American prison system because of all the talk about him meddling in American elections. There's a lot of people that wouldn't be very happy about that. So Julian Assange is now arrested. He's in custody in Britain. And the big question is, what does this mean for us in America? Obviously, we all know the Mueller report. Well, we don't know anything about the Mueller report, actually, right? Because none of us have seen it. But the assumption is that the Mueller report actually clears him on charges of conspiracy, which is funny because when Julian Assange was arrested and the charges were revealed, part of the evidence revealed with the charges is contact between Julian Assange and Don Jr., in which Julian Assange, or WikiLeaks, the WikiLeaks organization that he runs, tells Don Jr., this is what your father should do if he loses the election. If he loses the election, he should challenge the results. Don't give in. This is advice coming into a campaign from WikiLeaks, which has been called the Russian Front for its intelligence operation, giving advice to the son of the elected president or the guy running for president about what to do if he loses. I don't know I do have a background in law, but I don't know what the exact thing Mueller was looking for when it comes to conspiracy. He might have been looking for an agreement, what they call an agreement to conspire. But I know what I saw with my own eyes. And there's no report that can convince me that I didn't see it. And what I saw makes Donald Trump guilty of a lot. If not conspiracy, he's definitely guilty of other things that make him unfit to be president. I'm going to take another break and give you a little, that sounds like another rant, doesn't it? When I come back on the Jamal Show, WKND 97.5 FM, I'm going to go back to the college cheating scandal just a little bit. I'm still a little outraged about that. You should be too. Come back and join me on the Jamal Show. Don't turn that dial. Be right back, peeps. Get back on in 2 minutes. 3 minutes. Let's do 3 minutes. That won't work. That's bad. When the mic comes off, that's bad. That's definitely bad. Jamal, talk show host, part-time technician. Gail's supposed to be in here today. Time is passing by really slowly today, man. Come on. Good morning, people. It's Jamal. I'm back. This is the Jamal Show on WKND 97.5 FM. Thank you for staying with me. If you're new, please listen closely. We have something to talk about. The college cheating scandal updates. That's what I have for you today. Once again, this sound is a sound of preparation. Everybody remembers that this is the scandal that proves that being very wealthy isn't enough in America. The wealthy also want their kids to have any positions in higher education that your average working class kid may have desired and worked hard for. This is dastardly scandal because it shows what they really think of people who watch them on the red carpet. Everybody knows that these already very privileged Americans did, or what these Americans did, and in this case, it was a zero-sum game they were playing, because their acceptance into a school disqualified someone else who could not pay $500,000 just to get in, not even including living expenses for 4 years. Now, these people included celebrities, financiers, a former media mogul, actresses, and the heiress to the Hot Pockets fortune. So if you want to boycott Hot Pockets, go ahead and do so. I'm not a Hot Pockets eater myself, and so bad on them. The husband of Lori Loughlin has his Mossimo clothing line sold at Target to the people whose children he was cheating out of college education. He's selling clothes to them. These are people whose kids could do just fine without college. You know, let's be honest. College is a great learning experience. I'm glad I went. I would never change my college experience for not having gone. But I could have used $1 million too. If someone had left me $1 million in inheritance previous to me going, there's an argument to be made that I didn't really need to go. I could learn my trade, whatever it is, simply by being in business. A lot of people do that. One of the richest guys in the world, the guy that founded Oracle, his daughter's a movie producer. She's like 26 years old. She moved to Hollywood. I mean, this guy's got like $50 billion. He's like in the top 10 list of the richest people in the world, right? He founded Oracle. Forgot his name, but it's not important. If you want to know, look it up. Like my teacher used to tell me. His daughter's at 26, she produced Spider-Man or something. You know what producing a movie means? That means that you have the money to put behind it and pay everybody and then get paid later. That's what all business is about, right? Business can afford to put up the money first and get the money later. All corporations practice that. That's how they make profit. So she just happened to have been born as the daughter of a billionaire who's got like 50 billion. I mean, he races in yachts for a living and collects money. He buys whole neighborhoods. He doesn't buy one house. He buys whole neighborhoods in Florida so that he can resell them. And she's a movie producer. What are her qualifications? Having money. So these people didn't really need to go to college, but they didn't really need to take your spot at college or your children's spot. They didn't need to do any of that. These are people whose kids would do just fine without a college education. And the way that they did this was even more dastardly, having text messages corrected, tests that they took corrected by proctors who they bribed, having stand-ins take tests for them, even photoshopping their children into sports that they never played. Here, Nancy, get into that boat. Let me take a picture so that we can sell you to a school as a yacht coach or something, as a pro rower, person that's never been in the water before. This was very egregious. More news about the prosecution of the court cases against the 50 wealthy parents. They were accused of gaming the system. Now, federal prosecutors say some of the parents are trying to bend the judicial system to their advantage as well, in order to get a more sympathetic judge. In an unusual legal maneuver, 20 attorneys representing a dozen of the parents fired off a letter to the chief judge of the U.S. District Court on Tuesday, urging her to take the case away from U.S. District Judge Nathaniel Gordon and randomly assign it to another judge. Now, if you didn't understand all the gobbledygook I just said, basically they don't like their judge and they want to change him. Remember the last time you were in court for a speeding ticket or anything else that might have annoyed you, something you had to take the day off of work for, and you didn't like maybe the way the judge was talking to you? Remember when you wanted to change him? I don't remember ever doing that, but these people want to do that, and they obviously think they have a right to do it. If we only all had the power to just change the person sitting in judgment of our actions, I can't say that I wouldn't do it. The parents have accused the prosecutors of judge shopping, even though the judges are always randomly assigned. In other words, boo-hoo. We don't like this very much. More news is coming out about the two faces of the controversy as well. They are the faces because they already had public lives as Hollywood actresses. We're talking about Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Felicity was known for Desperate Housewives. Lori was known for Fuller House and Full House. It has been reported that Loughlin and her husband have rejected the plea deals that they were offered. Apparently because they weren't ready to accept the possibility of jail time. Good morning, Gail.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
You
Put your
too.
mic on. It helps.
Okay.
Jump in anytime. The mic works today. The mic works today.
Excellent.
And here's your headphones if you want to
Thank
use
you,
them.
sir.
Who's the young girl?
That's my little young granddaughter, Shanice.
And she is a beauty queen. There must be a beauty contest in Hartford today. Let me go on. You can jump in anytime you want to. You know what I'm talking about
Yes,
here.
I do.
I am outraged about this. I am. So they weren't ready to accept jail time. So Lori Loughlin and her husband turned down a plea deal. And I want to stop here and just say something really important. As a black man, and not even as a black man, as a man who has been charged with crimes before, I can say that is a dilemma. It is a dilemma when you think that you have an argument, you think you're innocent, or you think that, the cops got this wrong, and then they offer you a plea deal. Right?
Right.
That's their way of making you plead guilty to something that you don't necessarily think you're guilty
On
of.
the down low.
Right. And then they say, oh, well, it's going to be sealed.
Yeah. And you pled guilty.
Right. And I've
And
done
you
that.
can never go back.
Right. And see, they don't tell you that you should never plead guilty to something that you
Didn't do.
Right.
Ever.
Now, here in this situation, these people are obviously guilty, but I definitely see eye to eye. These are just, we'll talk about that. But I see eye to eye with people that are put into court into these situations where they think they might have an argument, but they have to make a decision very, very quickly, or else more charges will be added on.
Right.
And that's what happened with these. I don't feel much sympathy for them. I'm sure you don't either, right?
I don't feel any sympathy for them at all. Because like I said, there's some kids out there worthy and they getting rejected and they got good grade average and they are real true sports people.
Now, their attitude here is baffling to me because these are privileged people, right?
They are.
They never imagined they'd be in a type that be under the threat of jail any time in their lives, even if they committed crimes.
Or they live above the law. That's
Right.
what they think.
It's really, it's this woman never went to college. So Felicity Huffman, I've read a little bit about her. She really wanted her kids to go to USC and have the things that she didn't have and blah, blah, blah. And, most people don't have $500,000 to put into just getting into college. If you have that kind of money, then you can give your kids such a great experience without having to take it from someone
get
else.
tutors if they need them.
And the funny thing about it is, these girls weren't even interested in going.
And not at all.
They like partying.
Yeah.
I was reading this weekend. Lori Loughlin's daughter was out in Hollywood, like partying with her friends. Yeah. She stopped going on her own. They both stopped going to USC.
Yeah, they didn't want to go, like you said in the beginning.
And both of them not speaking to their parents.
Yeah, well, that's a little. I understand it to a certain extent, but sometimes parents we do things that not
Right.
like I said, not this far, but sometimes we do things just to better our children. But they went way beyond.
And then you have Olivia Jade is Loughlin's daughter. She has a YouTube channel. She has deals with Sephora.
And they dropped her.
Yeah,
dropped
she
her.
had deals with a lot of people.
And that's some real money
Now,
right there.
if you're a business person, right, and you have $500,000 just to put into getting into college, what I would do is say, hey, Olivia, it doesn't seem like you're interested in college. It seems like you're interested in business, and that's good.
And you're a millennium, so
Right.
this is what you live in.
Right.
Your world of social media.
Right, that's good. I see where you're going with this.
Do it. Go to school for that.
Here's $500,000.
And go to school for that.
Yeah. Here's $500,000 I was about to waste on you going to college. Why don't you use it to get yourself a little video studio?
Yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
support you for that.
Most billionaires, they did this special in Forbes magazine a few years ago. They asked like 10 billionaires, "Do you need an MBA?" And they were like, "Well, no, we just hire MBAs."
Well,
They're like, if you have the money to do things and do business and fail on your own,
It's about the paper.
right? So, these people aren't very smart. And the idea,
Well,
check this out. So Lori Loughlin and her husband rejected the plea deal, right? As a result, both of them are being now charged with money laundering.
Oh, snap.
Ooh, baby.
Back.
Yo, money laundering is a heavy charge.
Yeah.
If you walk out of your house tomorrow morning and you come back charged with money laundering, you had a bad day. You know what I'm saying?
I bet you have.
Because money laundering, that's a 40-year term in jail that you can
but
serve.
you know, we got the man at the highest helm that you can be. That's what he did.
Oh man, you should have heard my rant today, boy. I'm gonna bring it early next time. Yeah. So I guess the top of the country, the leader of the country, sets the standard, right? And so these people are actually offended at having been brought in. They're like, well, we're not gonna go to jail, are we? You know, they watch people go to jail for crimes every day,
right?
And they thought it could never happen to them.
It's above the law.
Like this is big fraud.
Like this disease has been unleashed since certain people have became president. Hate, living above the law, saying and doing whatever that comes to your mind. It's like they just let the devil out the cage up in here.
Right.
And even the rich people seem to think they are really superior.
I gotta say, in the past few weeks, I've been very proud of law enforcement, and there's very few times in my life that I say that sentence.
Really? Like what?
They're taking rich people to jail.
High five on that.
Yo, we got Roger Stone. The SWAT team
is on.
They sent the SWAT team on 65 years old Roger Stone. He's like, I was like with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am too.
Lori Loughlin thinks she's gonna get away, and they're like, "Oh no, we're recommending a small amount of jail time." She's like, "Jail time?
Yeah, like cool.
I'm a white woman." You know what I'm saying? Like,
you better ask Martha, baby.
Did you see the picture I sent beforehand? No. I am a white woman, and this is my first time I've been arrested. Yes. Even though it's fraud, and I spent $500,000.
I've never committed a crime before in my life.
I've never committed.
Well, what the ones that you didn't know about you were committing?
This is for poor people. So check this out. She's been walking around like happy, like, oh, I'm just gonna let this happen.
Autographs.
When she got hit with the money laundering charges, now she's not walking around happy anymore. She's like,
she's actually looking pretty dazed.
Yeah, I would be
like
too.
Somebody hit her upside the head.
Because getting hit with a money laundering charge is like saying you're definitely.
But why though?
You're definitely gonna go to jail.
They got to be on that. What is it? American greed or something like that.
No, I mean, but how?
That's greed.
How much?
Though.
No, I don't think it's greed because she has everything. She's always had what she needed, so she's not the type like she's not a gold digger. What I feel is like. I feel like they just automatically think that everything belongs to them.
But what I'm saying is greed is if you have money to spend, channel it the right way. When you're taking advantage of it, you're just being greedy. You got your money. You're taking everything else that you don't need, doing things you don't need to do.
To add insult to injury, they use the charity.
Oh, they get that from?
A charity that's supposed to be set up for disadvantaged youth.
They get it from who?
Trump?
Exactly.
Yeah, because Trump did the same exact thing.
Exactly.
He used to shout like a
Hillary
pigman.
Clinton, all of them think that they do the thing when you up in a certain league.
Charity's a suspect.
Man.
I mean, I hate to say that. I really do.
Yeah.
I grew up in a church, and churches are charities by nature, non-for-profits. America needs its non-for-profits. A non-for-profit is filling a lot of holes.
It's true.
But let's be honest for a minute.
But let's look at it again. Let's get some structure around it.
All charities are a tax shelter, first and foremost.
Exactly.
Right? They're a place where taxes don't apply. Right?
Right.
The pastor doesn't get taxed on his income. There's no problem with that.
That's right.
Right. I don't have a problem with that. That's part of, separation of church and state.
And they give a lot of time, though.
But as a result of them being charities and most charities being churches, they're not supervised by states very well. In other words, no governor is looking forward to auditing a church. Right. So charities. I used to work in.
That's what I'm saying. They loopholes. Why we can't get a loophole enforcement?
So
if we can create one.
Okay. So if I were immoral.
Yeah.
And you can make a joke about that. There's many people that know me that would make a joke about that statement. But let's go with what I said. If I were immoral and I didn't have a background in law, and I wasn't trying to get a law license, and I didn't have greater things on my mind. I would tell someone who wanted to be rich, the fastest way to be rich is establish a charity. If you establish a charity that has a name that's similar to the Cancer Society of America, which is millions of people do this. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to fall victim to donating to things like this. You got to research your charities where you donate your money. That money represents your energy every day, getting up at 6 in the morning, 8, 9 in the morning, and going to a place that you most likely don't want to go.
That's serious.
And every dollar is your life force.
And you can't get life back.
And I understand I like to give of myself by actually going to a soup kitchen myself.
And participating in
I used to
serving.
work for this charity called the Children's Center for the Blind out in, when I was in law school, and all we did was make calls, right? But I didn't work for the charity. I worked for the call center that was associated with it. The call center took 70% of the income.
Wow.
And we weren't to tell that kind of stuff is not legislated. When you run a charity, if I set up a charity for you, Gail, right now, you could take in donations from wherever, give tax breaks to whoever gives you a donation, and pay yourself whatever you wanted to.
Can we talk after this?
Yeah. All right. You can pay yourself.
After the show.
I first heard about this when I was in college. I heard about the Red Cross was led by this politician, Libby Dole, right?
Yeah.
My first question is, why is a politician leading a non-for-profit?
Exactly.
I looked into it, and she was making $600,000 a year.
Tax
Free. You can pay yourself 90% of the money that comes in as a charity.
Free.
And nobody's going to question you. There's no...
Because it's legit.
Right.
You know.
If you collect $1 million for donations to your charity, and you spend $1 on the charity, that's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
No one can arrest you for that. And you spend the rest on houses. There's a family of people that have made money off the National Cancer Society for years. And the government actually caught them. And the government was like, okay, so just don't establish any more charities and we'll let you go.
That's right. All the money you got in them Swiss accounts is good.
So I hate to go on this rant. I need to make that a whole separate rant, a whole separate day.
Okay.
You got to be careful of organizations.
Yes.
A charity was used in this, and it was a charity to help disadvantaged people, and it ended up helping advantaged people.
Of course.
When they caught this guy, he still had $25 million left in that charity. And this speaks to how much inequality is going in the economics of America. Because if you can afford to spend that much money on just getting in, I hate to say it, folks. I'm not all socialist, but maybe you have too much money.
Well,
you know,
money make you crazy. Money can make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. But the rich people, they just think that they can do it and get away with it. So, like you said earlier, I'm glad to see that law enforcement is cracking down on them, letting them know, no, you going to jail, you going to do some time. Negative publicity goes along with it.
It's really ironic because you would think that Trump would just let a lot of this stuff go, but he's actually his administration. The FBI is not playing. They're like, well, we can't get our boss.
Yeah.
We can't get our boss, so we're gonna get everybody else.
Yeah.
And they're treating these rich people like criminals, just like they treat us.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Harlem. How many stories do I have of cops kicking down people's doors without a search warrant?
Yeah.
And nobody cared. No, Felicity Huffman, I never saw them on a charity case like, oh, let's care about these people.
Right, or bringing it down to my level is when the parents are trying to get their kids in another school and they're not in the school district. They're going to jail.
Exactly.
For a school year.
So I wanna get on the bright side of this. Felicity Huffman actually has accepted her plea deal. So not everyone rich is crazy. She's very intelligent. After the plea arrangements were announced on Monday, Huffman issued what read like a very deeply felt statement. I want to read that because I want to cover the good too.
Yes.
Felicity Huffman said, "I'm ashamed." She apologized to her family, friends, colleagues, and to students and their parents who worked to get into college without cheating. I am in full acceptance of my guilt, and with deep regret and shame over what I have done, I accept full responsibility for my actions and will accept the consequences that stem from these actions, she wrote. I am ashamed of the pain I've caused my daughter, my family, my friends, my colleagues, and the educational community. This transgression towards my daughter and the public I will carry for the rest of my life. My desire to help my daughter is no excuse to break the law or engage in dishonesty. Ladies and gentlemen, that woman has a good attorney.
That's what it boiled down to. Say you're sorry.
That woman has an attorney that I'd like to meet one day.
She better hire Martha Stewart coach to go to jail.
Exactly.
To go to jail coach.
Now, she might be from Harlem, I think, because she realized very early.
Quick.
She was like, well,
I'm sorry.
I might go to jail for this.
I'm sorry.
She said that in her black voice. She said, I might go to jail for this one. So let me go ahead and her lawyer must have been a black man. He was like, yo, when this happens,
the black man that coach Martha Stewart.
Exactly.
When you go to jail, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to say.
So we are all in agreement that Felicity Huffman has a black male on her team that was like, dude, let me tell you, I don't know, but come on.
You know that thing.
He had to be like, yo, listen,
you better,
usually when this happens to us,
you better back down.
They mean what they're about to do is heap some more charges on you, honey. So what you need to do is go ahead and plead guilty and sound really good. And you know what she could have did? This is what I would have added. I would have been like, And this is what I would have added to Jussie Smollett too, by the way. I'd say, and I'd like to donate $1 million to fallen police officers.
I love.
You notice
that
that?
was the bomb.
I'm waiting to use that when I become a lawyer. I'm waiting to use that on somebody that did something bad to a cop and be like, "Yo,
Well,
we're
it's
donating."
good though. It's true. It works.
Let me tell you something. Cops love the Fallen Police Officer
That's right,
Fund.
yeah.
And let me tell you something. You will have no speeding tickets for like a year.
Oh, wait
Just
a
give
minute
like
now. That's not your way, no.
you get one of those. You get one of those
No.
shields on the back of your car, boy.
No, I support
whenever
the
you
law
get
enforcement.
whenever actresses like this get into trouble, and they have money, and you spend $500,000 on something stupid, give $25,000. I don't support the policeman's ball myself, but if I was in trouble like she is, I'd be like, you know
I'm
what?
gonna support you.
You know what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
be your poster child.
Because I don't believe that in giving money to public institutions, but I would if I was her.
Well, in certain situations, yeah, you might need to do what you need to do. Like you said, that lawyer that she got is probably telling her, look, this is how you're going to have to work this.
Oh, you know how this would have been? You know, even better. I'll tell you
What?
what even better, without getting into the politics of it.
Uh-huh.
I now donate $50,000 to pay for underprivileged people to go to school in USC. $50,000. If you could spend $500,000 on just getting in,
Man.
like, understand,
But
this
she
is
did-
$500,000
both
gone.
her daughters, though.
That's
Both of
true.
them. So it's times two.
Well, this is what about a lot of discussion about the loopholes in college. Like, should people be able to get into college free because they're good sports players because they can throw a ball through a hoop?
Well, which
You
one
know?
of them was photoshopping the
That was Laughlin.
Yeah, she need to go to jail. I'm sorry.
I'm like, you're really going far with this.
She need to go to jail.
You know, a guy that carries weed and like sells weed
Yeah.
or bags of
Yeah,
weed,
yeah.
they go to jail like for a
Like
day,
for
maybe
5
2 days.
years.
Yeah.
No, they do
Yeah.
time. They're doing well. It all depends
Well,
on
things are
companies.
changing
Yeah.
now. It depends on what state you're in
Ain't nothing
now.
changing.
But let me tell you something. If you got that kind, that's a big fraud right there. You know, and you got
You
a
photoshopping
charity.
fake jobs. You got charity.
And then
you money laundering. Come on, you like an El Chapo.
And then after all is done, you got the nerve to take the tax break for donating to a charity. You want to talk about money laundering? You take the tax break from the government.
That's Miss El Chapo.
And they catch you on the phone talking about, "Oh, that's okay, I don't mind.
On the
I don't
white
mind. I'm gonna
side.
take that charity. I'm gonna take that."
Yeah.
So if you got money like that, what she should have did was donate $50,000 to underprivileged kids to go to school. That would have made it all good with the
Well,
public.
it would have made it good. You know, somebody would have benefited off of it. You know, and they would have been writing things not to do.
Well, one more thing I want to add. We are running out of
Yes,
time, and I'm
yes,
glad
yes.
you're here, Gail.
Yes,
thanks
thank you.
for coming this morning. You brought
Yes.
your beautiful daughter with you.
Yes.
How do you feel about these guys, these really rich people that buy buildings on campus? Now, and this isn't a black-white thing because we both know a guy named Dr. Dre.
Hey,
He got his $1 billion
yeah.
from Apple
Hey.
a couple years ago.
Yes.
He's been throwing his money around a little bit. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him,
I don't blame him. He gave $10 million to his old high school
I
for
know.
arts.
Yep.
Beautiful thing because that's public and that's money that's going to a
Right,
black
right.
hole.
That's right.
That money was spent before he even got there. And then he gave him and Jimmy Iovine built a $70 million building on USC's campus. Now, $70 million is a lot of money. Last time I checked.
Yeah.
I haven't had $70 million in my account for a while, at least for a few years.
Okay.
And then he brags that his daughter got to USC. He's like, I didn't have to cheat my daughter in.
Well, he was making a statement.
I guess.
Yeah.
The question is there something immoral about a parent being able to buy a building on campus? Make a donation. This goes without saying.
Well,
This goes without saying, but Donald Trump's kids were all there were donations given before they all went to
exactly.
Wharton. They totaled $1.4 million, which is a lot of money. It's not 70 million.
money.
So is this fair, do you think?
Well, it all depends. Well, it's not fair if you're using it to take advantage of the weak. But what happens is a lot of people do benefit from it. So is it fair? Yeah. Some people are underprivileged. They wouldn't be able to stay on other campuses, and you made a way for them.
I agree with you. I think that's different because I feel like if you're going to put down $70 million, damn it, let your kid go to school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
$70 million to a school. If you're building a school, a lot of students benefit. Just like you say, a lot of students. It might be a dorm building. A lot of students benefit from that, and also Dr. Dre is making a name for black people in a way by donating.
Yeah. And his name gonna go down in legacy
Yeah.
on top of that building.
And it should because I liked NWA, so why not? I love NWA, so why not?
So,
So
hey.
I think that is different. I think that's different than cheating.
Exactly my point. It's it is what it is, but you have to look at the long scheme. How did you get there? What did you apply to? What was your morals? What was your mission statement? And then when those things come together and it works, it's beautiful. But when your mission statement, you laundering money, you cheating, and you photoshopping, that's all dirty. That's dirty, and it's going to end dirty.
Now, we got 5 more minutes. There's one more thing I got to
Okay.
get to, because this was a big thing at Georgetown. Georgetown University students voted on a historic proposal to pay reparations to slave descendants.
That's okay.
Now, this is interesting. This is particular to Georgetown because Georgetown had a period when it was about to go out of business, and they actually sold slaves to stay in business. It was for a couple of years, right? So now they've tracked down the descendants of those slaves,
Yes.
and they're talking about charging new students $27, an extra fee to start the new year, and that money going to the descendants of the slaves.
Okay.
Now, reparations is a touchy subject.
Exactly.
And I don't know, in a racist country like America, I don't know how something like that could be performed without causing more trouble.
Right.
But this was a student vote. And Georgetown is a very white university. And I'm impressed.
Then they said they voted yes.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, well,
I gotta say,
that was amazing.
The student union,
Said yes.
a union full of white people who I never would have
Yeah,
guessed.
never.
I'm telling you, I would have voted against this.
Yeah, but, but the young people coming up these days are different. In a lot of ways, they're different. So this is why another reason reparation won't work is because when you roll back that DNA, who's who?
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't no more. Them lines are blurred.
Exactly. There's so many white people out here that have black descendants. I have white people in my family, so that's so hard. The line for reparations
Blurred.
is going to be longer than the line for food stamps. Let me tell you.
You get 25%. You get 10. You get 1%.
When I was a kid, we used to have government cheese, which is so delicious. I miss it.
And yeah,
There
that
was a
bologna
line
with that red stuff around.
Oh, okay. The bologna I wasn't really with, but the
You
cheese
gotta
was
fry
delicious.
it. You gotta fry the bologna.
You gotta fry it. Let me tell you something. The line for reparations will be like 20.
Man.
The line longer. It'll be longer than the line for Barack Obama's funeral if he ever dies. And I'm not convinced that he ever will, to be honest with you. But let me tell you that.
Nipsey Hussle, that'll be longer than the line for that right now.
Yeah, I did mention that. I'm gonna have to say something about that next
I
week.
heard it.
Interestingly enough, let me just say that I'm not gonna say whether I agree with Georgetown or not. I know that the university doesn't have to follow the students'
Well, it's
recommendations.
entertaining.
But the idea that students
Exactly.
voted to pay more money to
That's
help
the
black
main
descendants,
point.
That's
the main point right there.
You've reaffirmed my belief in America,
That's
Georgetown
right.
students.
That's
You really
right.
have.
That's right.
I commend you. This is the Jamal Show on WKND 97.5 FM. Please join me and Gail next week. We love having you. We love talking to you. This is a dream come true. Remember to contact us on jamalshowradio@gmail.com. Like us on the Jamal Show on Facebook. And I think we're out now.
I just want to have her say hello. Say your name.
Please have the beauty queen
Yeah.
say hello
Say your name
on the
Come
mic.
Shanice.
Say hi.
Say your name.
Just say hi.
Hello.
Say hello.
Hi.
Say my name. Okay. Just say your name.
Shanice.
Oh, but
Her name is Shanice, and that was her first
yeah.
view on the radio.
Yeah,
I
there
see
you
it's so
go.
beautiful.
There she go.
And so we're hoping to have Shanice on in 20 years to launch her show.
And Grandma.
There you go. Y'all have a beautiful
yeah.
day today, y'all. Have a good day.
WKND.
Jamal Show out. How you doing?